Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shields, desolators, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm a useful idiot. Welcome, and let's go back to the USA. And just so people aren't confused enough about what my political views are and what candidates I like, I want to talk about Bernie Sanders today. You know, Bernie Sanders, he's all right. He's like your crazy old uncle. In fact, I can relate because I'm a crazy old uncle. And he may be a commie bastard, but he's got a lot of interesting ideas. And I know a lot of my conservative compatriots and friends and family were probably aghast to hear me even suggest that someone who's a socialist has something to offer. But you know, you got to look at him and his overall policies. Kind of like Trump, he is truly Sanders is in a lot of ways is an actual outsider, and he's always been non-interventionist, and he's voted against the wars, and he has a pretty impeccable record. And you know, there's always going to be some shit on him, just like there's shit on everybody. But whatever. As far as people go in our government, I certainly have a little more faith in him than 99% of the others. And when he goes on a show and says the things he said recently about AIPAC and Israel and Palestine, I applaud him. So I'm at the point now where I don't really have anything in the game. You know, the guy I wanted for president a few years back didn't get there, and the guys I wanted for president over the last 10, 20, 30 years have never gotten in there. And so right now, I just want somebody that's going to go in there and fuck shit up. And frankly, either Trump or Sanders would go in there and fuck shit up. So I'm for both of them. Either one's fine with me. As I've said before, how did I put it? Oh yeah, I sure as fuck don't want Hillary Clinton. So anyway, let's look at Bernie Sanders. And this has all the more credibility, as I probably don't have to point out, because Bernie Sanders is a Jew, and he's an American Jew, and he's actually an American Jew, like many American Jews who are not that thrilled with Zionism and are not that thrilled with Israeli policies. So a little refreshing after all the neocons and all the Zionists and all the whole project for a new American century crowd that we've had to deal with. We get another angle on what Jews in the world think about Israel and Palestine and everything associated with it. Always an important issue. And he said some amazing things, and I got to hand it to him. And the fact that this is being part of a national discussion is always a healthy thing. And he said that, quote, Israel has done some bad things, killing civilians, blowing up hospitals, unquote. The inevitable arguments, oh, well, those damn terrorists do the same thing. But just hear it out. He said that he wanted to be even-handed, not necessarily neutral, and he reiterated that Israel remains intact, and I don't think anybody has doubted that as a necessary part of any plan moving forward. This idea that somehow the only victory for the Arab world, as stated by them, is that they have to make sure that Israel doesn't exist. That is no longer an option in any real planet in this universe. He talked about, quote, working with the Palestinians, unquote, which is something we haven't heard too much. And he talked about all the problems that they have in Gaza, 44% unemployment, horrific poverty, the community destroyed. And he pointed out the fact that the destruction of Gaza was extremely disproportionate. And it's just refreshing to hear this from anyone. And I would certainly love to hear this kind of rhetoric from Trump. Although I think Trump's policies actually are a little closer to this than people imagine. He is certainly a salesman, so he's going to pander to AIPAC and that crowd. But he has a lot on the line because the GOP is working against him. But anyway, Sanders goes on to say that, quote, the U.S. can't just take Israel's side. The U.S. has not been even-handed, unquote. Once again, not the kind of thing you're used to hearing from American politicians in a very real pragmatic view of what needs to be done to actually achieve peace in that region. And that sort of peace obviously could reverberate throughout the region if something like this could get settled. And he also goes on to talk about illegal settlements. Israel's building on actual Palestinian territory. And once again, another touchy subject that Sanders brought up, and I have nothing but admiration. No American politicians and people in our government would dare come out and say things like that. Although, frankly, we've heard some of those expressions before from people like Jimmy Carter and Barack Obama, but that's not the kind of people you want to bring up to sell your ideas. But anyway, he also goes on to say that, quote, there's enough blame to go around on both sides, unquote. Once again, very refreshing to see someone that can come out and say that there's something, the truth lies in the middle somewhere. And so this time-honored battle between Israel is in its righteousness and the Palestinians as the victims, and back and forth as the Israelis as the victims, etc. Who shot first? Whose land is it? Whatever. The point is now there's enough blame to go around on both sides, and that's very appropriate. Certainly one could take steps further in pointing out that idea. And then Sanders goes on to talk about Hillary's foreign policy. He says, yeah, she has a lot of experience, but she's always been wrong. And Sanders hasn't necessarily had a direct foreign policy experience like she has, but he certainly made all the right decisions, voting against the war and being a non-interventionist and questioning our foreign policy involvements. And not only that, he goes a little further and talks about Hillary, talking about Kissinger praising her, and he points out that he thinks Secretary Henry Kissinger was the worst Secretary of State in U.S. history and hates his policies. And it's also refreshing to hear somebody in our government say something like that, particularly when you have people like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton that are warmongers fostered under the wing and with the approval of somebody like Henry Kissinger. So anyway, so there you have it. Bernie Sanders, way to go. Kicking some ass, taking no prisoners, and you're just a refreshing breath of fresh air. And it's too bad the liberal base is too fucking stupid to see their opportunity as a whole and vote for you, particularly in light of the fact that polls show that even most Democrats don't trust Hillary Clinton, and yet all these dipshits are lining up to vote for her anyway. Amazing. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.